Cuyahoga Sound podcast. I'm Evan Stone.
I'm Chuck Schilling.
And today we're here with Gabe Pollack from the Bop Stop, director of the Bop Stop.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, man.
Now, if Evan seemed
pleasure.
nervous about saying his name, it's because that was take 7 of our intro.
I've been here since last night.
We're on and rolling now, though.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool. All right, Gabe. Good to have you on here, man.
Yeah.
What is the Bop Stop?
So, the Bop Stop has a long history in Cleveland, but right now, or I should say in its current format, it is a jazz club that's owned by the Music Settlement, which is a 109-year-old community music school. So we feel if you're here come to a show, we feel very much like another club like Nighttown or Music Box, Happy Dog, something like that. We do have an educational component. A lot of that stuff happens during the day. But, yeah, at night we feel just like a regular club.
Cool. Yeah. How many nights a week do you guys have music?
We do about 320 concerts a year. So, yeah, it's about about 6 nights a week. Wednesdays to Sundays all the time. And then we open up occasionally on Mondays or Tuesdays when there's a special occasion or something, big name coming through.
Yeah.
And they're like, we need the Monday. Like, all right, you got it.
Or Cleveland Music Industry Conversations.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
That was a special event.
It was.
Yes.
It was quite special.
Yeah.
It was.
We had a lot of fun there. Learned a lot of things about what's going on with the music scene that I completely didn't know about.
We got hooked up.
Yeah.
This happened because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a link to one of the conversations on our page.
Cool.
We videoed it
Yeah.
live. Cool. And is it Cleveland jazz acts? You bring a lot of out-of-towners in?
Yeah, so it's about, oh man, well, I guess since the pandemic, it's been a little bit focused more locally, local bands, but the touring acts are coming around now. Generally, it's about 40% touring, 60% local. It's a nice mix, and it's, I say we're a jazz club. About 80% of the shows are jazz. We really like to focus on original music. So if you're not a jazz act, you just have to do original stuff. We're not going to do a cover band or something like that. So yeah, want to support new music, but geared towards improvisation, whatever that means to you.
Cool.
Yeah.
What other genres do you have come play when you have the original music going?
We have
kinds?
all kinds. Yeah. I mean, you've been there playing reggae.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a lot of roots music, Americana, classical, rock. It's the other 20% is really the whole gamut. How's that for a word
works.
choice?
All right. It's the word of the day.
Yeah, but I tell people when you're doing 320 shows, even though I'm saying 20% is not jazz, that is somewhat significant. That's over 50 shows that are not jazz. So people have just come to know us as a jazz club since we've recently won a lot of awards from jazz publications, and now if you walk up on a Friday or Saturday, most people expect it to be jazz. So yeah,
it's got that unique setup of like a jazz club where the stage is the focal point, but you're still the tables instead of chairs are just an open floor.
Yeah, I mean the building, the current location was built from the ground up to be a performance space. So unlike a lot of other venues around town, this one, I mean, you can tell that the original owners took music seriously and really built the space around the stage.
Cool.
So,
do you ever have comedy acts? It kind of looks like it would accommodate a comedy show.
We do have comedy. We may be hosting a comedy festival this August, but I can't tell you more at this moment. But we have hosted shows in partnership with Cleveland Comedy Festival, and there have been some comics who have just reached out independently. And we've done some comedy shows. So, I mean, historically, the crossover with comedy and jazz is it's pretty strong. I mean,
is that so?
Yeah, there were a lot of shit. Like, if you go back to the 50s, 60s, there's a lot of, comedians opening for jazz acts and vice versa. So,
that's
there used to be
interesting.
these
I didn't know that.
huge productions of with multiple acts. So I mean, it doesn't really. I'm learning that doesn't really exist so much anymore. But historically speaking, that was a winning combo.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'd go see that.
I would love to see that. Yeah, that sounds great.
The best I had was being stuck playing with a puppet show in between acts. And that did not go so well.
That's so funny.
Puppet show.
That's cool.
It was like totally. It was a gig that was at a swingers get together that we did not know was a swingers get together until like
It
I
was
got
too
there.
late.
I got there and there were signs all over of like no nudity beyond this point. So they had some like X-rated puppet show in between sets. And this was our first show as the band. We'd never played a gig. We get there and the whole crowd's naked. So
Which band was that?
That was the Southern Rock Superstars, which was like a Leonard Skinner tribute band.
Wow,
We
that's
get
a
to that,
surprise.
we get to that first gig, and you know they say like picture the audience in their underwear. Like that would have been putting clothes on them, man. It was
so
quite a
funny.
scene.
Cool.
Cool. How long have you been the director of the Bop Stop?
Coming up on 8 years, almost 8 years. Yeah, just a couple months away from 8 years.
Cool.
Yeah.
I only know that place as with you as the director. So
Yeah.
cool.
It has a checkered, kind of, I don't want to say checkered history, but the current location is the third location, and what is happening now is a little bit different than what was going on at the previous locations. So,
Just the swingers get-togethers.
that's what the original one was like. No,
I mean, the Bop Stop kind of sounds like it could be.
I know you say the room's laid out well for comedy, but it's laid out well for.
Got some
For
good
orgies.
mirrors. You got everything going.
My wheels are turning now. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some people that are fans of all three locations, but from speaking with people who just come to shows and performers, everyone seems to have their favorite kind of location or iteration, but it's
Where
all
was
part of the same history.
The first
so.
one, and
First one-
when was it built?
Yeah, first one opened in 1991. It was on East 40th in St. Clair. Then it moved to West 6th Street in the mid-90s. The current location on 29th in Detroit opened in 2003.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. You guys got a kind of a backyard there. Is that ever used by you guys or for anything? Like, 'cause that seems like such a good space to do something cool. That yard you have with the sunset right in front of you.
Yeah. So it's we don't own that property. It's a park. It's known as Jim Mahone Green. It's owned by the city. Over the pandemic, we were able to throw a lot of outdoor concerts, but the bands were set up on our existing patio, and people just sat in the park and could enjoy the music.
Nice.
An interesting story that not many people know. Back, it's about 2015. We actually tried to work with the city to do one of those, like $1 a year, 100-year leases to extend our property line out and do a more formal, redevelopment project for that space with an outdoor stage. Since we are a nonprofit, we're eligible for new market tax credits. So the idea was we could use the tax credits to do what we wanted to do. But because there's been so much development in the neighborhood around the Bop Stop, we could allocate some of those tax credits to build up the rest of the park to what the rest of the community wanted. I mean, there's people that want to be able to a safe place to walk their dogs. Other people would like, what are they called? Like the play equipment for kids, jungle gym. So that actually got moving along. But when Cleveland won the RNC, our project was put on the back
Put to the
burner,
side.
and then and long story short, it never went anywhere. So
that's something you're looking to get going again.
it
Possibly?
would be awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of work, so I have to kind of find the time.
Yeah.
What's the name of that part of Cleveland or that neighborhood?
I guess
Stop's in?
people like calling it Hingetown. We've adopted that too, but it really is. It's Ohio City, but with all the development happening right around where the Bop Stop is, that specific portion of Ohio City is kind of rebranding itself as Hingetown.
Cool. Yeah, there's been a lot of restaurants that opened in that area, like right down that road across from you guys recently. Is that new? A lot of those places?
Yeah, there's a few new restaurants. I think a lot of people, I should say, probably most people listening have driven by the Bop Stop and they may not even know what it is.
Yeah,
you can pass us on Route 2 and you're just like, what's that weird gold building? And then people walk in and they're like, oh, wow, this is cool. But yeah, if you're driving down Detroit, yeah, a lot of new restaurants. You might know where Saucy Brewworks is or Rising Star, Jukebox. I feel like those are some of the more popular places. Urban Orchid, the flower
Saucy
shop.
Brewworks we've got in our crosshairs, trying to be our next beer sponsor. What do we have today, Chuck?
What do we got today? We have Collision Bend. What is this? I can't pronounce that. Can you?
Oh, I should have asked him, how the hell do you say this? Crentovange.
Ah.
That's my guess.
That's your guess?
Yeah.
All right. It's a golden lager. I can read that part.
Collision Bend is our very first alcohol sponsor. Thank you for providing us with this great beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's really good.
It. You know
they have a brewery right in the flats.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on the water. They have live music every Friday. And they're a great destination to host any event, from corporate happy hour to weddings, everything in between. And if you're stuck at home, you can order takeout online and have it delivered. It is where expertly crafted food and beer collide.
I find a lot of people are doing that. We just got some Chinese delivered. Like, we could have gone down the street and gotten it, but it's kind of like a habit that's lived along with the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
However, restaurants need us. So.
Yeah. I saw a meme that said, you guys are complaining about this bump in gas prices, but I know you're paying $35 to have Taco Bell delivered from around the corner.
Yeah, that's the truth, man. That is the truth. This is a tasty brew, though.
It is.
I
Thanks,
enjoy it.
Collision Bend.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Cool.
They're even better when they're free, right?
Yeah, they are. Well, I had to read that paragraph, so call it an even trade.
Nice job. You got the paragraph that was in English. I got the title, which, you know.
Yeah. All right, also...
I just sat here and got to drink it, so I win.
Yeah, I'd say so. That's how we got the Labra brothers in here, was offering free beer.
Yeah.
Our guest is always the one to come out on top.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
So you've been there 8 years now.
Yeah.
What changes have you seen in the last 8 years?
Wow. That's a hard question to answer.
Is it as hard as pronouncing that?
Not as hard as no. I mean, a lot. I mean, I know we just talked about the neighborhood changing. You know, we've become in the jazz world like a true destination. So, you know, it's become a very competitive place to play. So, you know, the calendar fills up and I have nothing, not even weeknights, like 6 months out. So that's changed. Everything, I think, has just gotten better and more popular. There isn't really many setbacks. The one thing that has kind of always been the hardest thing for us has been our kitchen. And I'm excited to announce that starting really in April, we have a partnership with Lutheran Ministries, and we're going to be a training site for their clients, but they're going to be preparing food for us, and we'll be providing staff to serve all that food. So we're finally going to have
more than popcorn.
We're not getting. It's actually really funny, but when we were going back and forth with the kitchen contract, I was like, guys, we have to leave popcorn on the menu. Yeah. If I get rid of popcorn, someone's gonna kill me. So yeah, no, we'll still have the popcorn. But yeah, we'll have a much better and robust menu starting in April. And I think it's pretty cool having like the food proceeds will directly support them. And you know, we're the nonprofit bar where all proceeds from the bar go into the operating budget of the music settlement. So we like to say with every drink you have, you're supporting music education in Cleveland. And I just like the idea of coming out to support a band and knowing that your money is going either to a music school or to a work training program.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's kind of cool.
Hell yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about the music settlement?
The music settlement? Yeah. So the music settlement was founded in 1912 by Almeda Adams. You can visit her at Lakeview Cemetery. She was an immigrant to Cleveland and essentially was told that she was blind. So as a blind woman, there's not much you can do with your life. And she founded the music settlement. And it really served as a place to help new immigrants to Cleveland kind of assimilate into American culture. So that's what it was founded as. But since 1912, and now the Music Settlement houses a Center for Music Therapy, which is over 50 years old, and it's the largest music therapy program outside of an accredited institution in the country. And then there's also a Center for Early Childhood, which it's not just like music education. It's like a preschool and kindergarten program, and then the Bop Stop, which is now the baby on the block at 8 years old.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot happening over there. It's essentially 4 businesses under one umbrella.
So the Music Settlement Partnership only has started with the newest location of the Bop Stop.
Correct. So yeah, it was privately owned. It was opened by Ron Bush in 1991. He's a vibraphonist here in town.
Yeah.
And then his business partner was Anita Nonaman, and together they kind of moved to the second location, and then Anita built the current location from the ground up. And
That's
so she,
cool.
yeah, and she and
that's really unique architecture. So
yeah, it's crazy.
That
It's
was
awesome.
built by them.
Yeah, there was a building where the current location sits that sold boating equipment and stuff for Lake Erie. And I believe the original plan was to retrofit that space, but they determined pretty early on that for the same amount of money they could knock down the building and start from scratch.
Cool.
So that's what they did. And I say they were a little ahead of their time, when they opened in Hingetown. Vacant lots everywhere, not necessarily where their clientele wanted to go. But now it's like, it's a hopping neighborhood.
What's
So-
the attendance like for your weekend shows? Do you fill that place up?
Yeah. Yeah. And we're bouncing back from the pandemic, so we've only had a handful of sellouts since we've started having audiences back, but attendance has grown significantly. I actually was just doing numbers, and from 5 years ago, attendance has increased 42%.
All
I know
right.
that for you. This is the beauty of doing
Straight
an
from the
interview during our
director's
budgeting.
mouth.
Yeah, during our budgeting cycle. But the audience is very. It's kind of a funny thing. It's if you look at a year at the Bop Stop, there we have very diverse crowds in terms of age, income, race, all that stuff. But generally speaking, a band does a pretty good job of getting like one type of person out. So like the shows don't always feel as diverse as I'd like them, but when you take a step back and look at the year in review, it appears that we're serving a lot of different people, just not all at the same time. So moving forward, that would be a goal of mine. Is like let's get all these people to mingle.
Integrate the crowds and the
Yeah.
fan bases.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, because most of the people that come, because we're only open when we have shows. So most people that come are just there for the show. On a weekend night, someone may walk up and be like, "Oh, let's see what's going on at the Bop Stop." But generally speaking, people that are there have looked at the calendar and they're like, "That's what I want to see."
Cool. What's
So-
a price range for to see a show at the Bop Stop?
So we always have say 2 to 4 free events a month, and then our most expensive ticket has been $30. Most of them are 15 or 20.
All right.
So, yeah.
That's really reasonable.
Yeah, not a bad seat in the house. That's
That's for sure.
If it's $30, it's $30 well spent.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, when we have a 8-time Grammy winner or something, you're no more than 25 feet from the stage. So, I mean, it's a definitely a good environment to see people playing, and it sounds great, So,
I know you said that you've been rated highly by some jazz publications, and does that bring in a lot of Grammy nominated or winners through your
I think that's helped. Yeah, I think there's a few things. One, obviously, the more big shows we do, the more our name gets out there. I think the awards help. Unfortunately, I think with a lot of venues closing over the pandemic, and I think we've actually come out way stronger. A lot of people found out about us from our live streams over the pandemic. I mean, even when we were closed to audiences, I did 280 concerts. Every band got paid. We paid bands. It was like over $60,000, even though we had nobody physically in the venue. I think so. A lot of people found out from like virtually about us. So yeah, I think there's a lot of factors, I guess, to answer that question. But
that's so cool, though. This is a feel-good episode for sure.
Wow.
Man. All the terrible news going on in the world. We're the spot for some positivity.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other jazz clubs in Cleveland or close to downtown like you guys?
No, I mean, a few years ago, Take 5 closed, and Nighttown sold over the pandemic, and there's no real idea about when they'll come back and what that will look like, what the new Nighttown will look like. Wolf's Den, which is on the east side, it served a really important role in Cleveland. It was the black-owned jazz club that really had really supported a lot of the older generations of performers. So, yeah, I mean, I've been trying to absorb some of the programming from all these spots that have closed, but we're only one spot, and there's only so many days in a year. Yeah, I think Cleveland's got a lot of talent, but especially in jazz world, we could use some more places to play.
So here's something I thought of. This is our first venue person that we've talked to. Mm-hmm. Normally we're talking one-on-one with bands, so you get to see all these acts coming through.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any shared differences from the pandemic with these acts coming through? Do they have whether it's in the music or in the attitude or because all the artists that have come in have talked about the pandemic changing the way they think about music, the way they deliver it, the way they write. So are you getting to see these changes?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of bands spent time recording and writing over the pandemic. So there's a lot of great material that's come out that we've been able to hear in these shows. I'll say post-pandemic. Even though it's still kind of going on.
Pandemic's over too. We got some great news in this one.
in this round of the pandemic.
You got to cite your sources if you're going to put an end to it. Let's
get a balloon drop for that.
I'm trying to think. I think people are generally more appreciative, especially of the live music experience. Bands are definitely excited to be back on the road, and customers or audience members, I should say, are really happy to come out and buy merch and support, So I'd say there is, I guess I do sense a bit of a difference in attitude, when with prices going up, kind of with inflation and stuff. I know we're starting to charge a little bit more for music, and that seems to be okay, and bands can make a little bit more money. I don't know. We'll see how long it lasts, though. I don't really know. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
We're still in the mix, so yeah. I just figured someone that's seeing a consistent, move through, and I'm sure some of the bands were bands that came through pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. So
yeah. Well, I think there's also a relief, at least in the last, I'd say touring bands in the last 6 months, if we just pull off the show, there's kind of this sense of accomplishment because you kind of just have to roll with the punches. When you're booking a show 6 months out, you don't really know what the status of the world's going to be.
Yeah.
And when the show ends, and especially when it's a good night, it's like, hell yeah, we did it, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I think I don't really feel, I know people talk about the musician versus the venue kind of dynamic, which is, I don't want to say non-existent, but I feel like the Bop Stop has really grown in a grassroots way where we're all on the same page, same side. But I think now there's definitely this camaraderie where it's like, okay, all pieces of the music industry are in this together, and like we all need each other. You know, let's just
figure this out.
Let's figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely a difference. You know, talking with agencies and managers, and they're just like, it's cool. We know things are going to change, but that's all right. Like,
Cool. They're adapting.
yeah, everyone's kind of.
So I bet that you had a lot of acts or musicians that spent more than half the year touring or on the road that come through the Bop Stop. Is that accurate?
You would say that again?
Like they spend most of their time on the road.
I think, not so much in jazz world. I think that's
Oh, no?
a little bit more your world. I think a lot. In most tours in the jazz world are like, 1 to 2 weeks at a time.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then you go home, and then you you kind of do your West Coast run, then your Midwest run a little later. There's not so much you can't really go around the country and do 50 dates in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the experimental guys, they do that,
Yeah.
on that side of jazz. But yeah,
Cool.
I don't know.
That makes more sense. So.
Yeah.
All right. Should we talk about some of our sponsors besides the beer?
Ooh.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Cool.
Start with Listen CLE.
Sure.
How's that sound?
Here.
All right.
Talk about Listen
Let's
CLE.
talk about Listen CLE. They've got 9 mood-based podcasts. Not podcast. Playlists.
Yeah.
We should do a mood-based podcast. We'll do an angry one. We'll do a happy one. We'll just figure out our mood beforehand and then put it in the right category. Listen CLE, and they're hugely involved in the music scene here in Cleveland. The 9 genres are What is Love, Groove, Energy Boost, Chill, Feel Good, Misery Loves Company. We got Rock Out, Night Driving, and Acoustic Cuts.
Wow, you rattled those off faster than I do.
I do not have a cheat sheet.
The founders are also my neighbor, so
Oh, that's awesome.
we got a musical block.
So were you there for the what's the
New Year's.
manatee's name? Ryan Seacow getting lowered for New Year's.
No, I was not there.
All right.
Oh, that sounds great though.
Yeah, they've
Oh,
got
I missed out.
they've got a manatee they lower for New Year's, like the way they lower the ball in New York, and
Now
it's
I know.
Ryan Seacow. I saw some pictures of it around New Year's. It was pretty cool. And they're also working right now on a nice database for artists to be able to connect with venues. It'll serve as their EPK and let venues check everything out.
Yeah,
So
whole directory of the musicians, venues, people available for
I
gigs.
don't know. I don't think it's live yet, but it may be. And as soon as we know that it is, we'll definitely have some contact info there for you.
That's right.
You ready to take the next one?
Well, I found the pronunciation of this Collision Bend beer.
Awesome.
Kuran Tovan Ye. Kuran Tovan Ye.
All right.
All right.
Karan Tavanye.
Golden Lager by Collision Bend.
Yay!
Thank you.
Let's make it a yay.
Yay!
Yay!
Von Yay!
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 Also, Unrefined Cleveland, a new 100% gluten and dairy-free meal prep service in Cleveland. They use local vendors, and they always have fresh food, never frozen. Meals delivered right to your door within 35 minutes of downtown.
Can you freeze it yourself though?
You can freeze it yourself.
All right,
Yeah,
so
their
that's cool.
containers, they come in are microwave safe. Just pop it in for a minute or two, and it's good to go.
Cool.
That's unrefinedls.com and unrefined CLE on Instagram.
All right.
Cool. They're delicious when you don't have time to cook. You can go to their website and use a promo code FIRSS20 first 20, and it'll get you 20% off of your first order.
That's FIRST 20.
2 zeros. No, not 2 zeros. A 2 and then a 0.
20.
Right, you got it.
Correct. All right. Let's talk about our man Russell Jones.
Who?
Jones Drones Cleveland.
Jones Drones Cleveland.
Because he can't just be Jones Drones.
No.
You get the wrong guy. And you want Russell.
You want Russell.
Russell, you can check him out on our podcast episode
18.
18. Yeah.
18, yeah.
So you don't even got to watch us. You
Just
can
a
just
few
watch the
episodes
intro
ago.
and get about 10 seconds in, and you'll see Russell's fantastic work from the All-Star game.
That's right.
He provided all the drone work for that, which was just
For
cool as
TNT.
hell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So looking to capture yourselves at a nice outdoor show.
If
That'd
you're a
be the
drone
way to go.
enthusiast yourself, he offers commercial drone services and repairs, even lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All that FPV stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Drone racer and photographer.
Yeah. And the OG, Chuck Kaminsky,
Chuck Kaminsky.
the Basement Trader. BASSMENTTRADER. And
.com.
.com. Chuck, he's been doing a lot of setups going on east side of Cleveland. He's in Painesville. He's also got his reverb shop with a lot of used equipment in there. I know, Evan, you're playing a bass from Basement Trader.
Yeah, beautiful PV.
Yeah, and we can't say enough. He hooked us up with these mics before we even started our first podcast.
Yeah. And I know Painesville kind of seems like it's far, but his place is only a couple minutes off the highway.
Yeah,
So it's easy to get to.
he might even offer you a beer.
He offered me a beer.
Yeah, Bush Light, right?
It was something like
Yeah, I think he's with the Bush
Collision
Light.
bend. Collision
It
bend.
wasn't collision bends. No.
No. However, he would love sponsorship.
That's right. Thank you to everyone who's supported us so far. We're having a blast doing these podcasts. We're loving every minute of getting to know all of these people involved in the Cleveland music industry.
Heck yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Love that we're starting to expand outside of musicians.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We've even got a photographer coming up. I'll give a little tease of that.
Yeah, that
In
we
an
happened to meet
episode.
at the Bop Stop.
That's
right?
correct, yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and Listen CLE were the ones that introduced us to him.
That's right.
So, yeah, small world. Small world.
Yeah.
All right, back to our usual programming.
And now, back to Gabe, director
what?
of the Bop Stop.
Director of the Butts. Is that what you just said?
Director.
Bop
That's
Stop.
what I heard.
That's
what I
when
heard.
it's the Bop Stop After Dark. Director of Butts.
It's Gabe Pollack.
Yeah, you got it.
Got it that
Nice.
time. All right.
Nice.
Ryan Joe, yay. What are we going to talk about now? This is our first time with a non-musician, so.
Let's talk about making a schedule, like booking bands. Like how do you get contacted by managers or the artists themselves, like asking to play? Do you reach out to people asking them to play?
That's actually going back to what's changed. That first year I had to reach out to people to play. Now I'd say we probably get 15 booking inquiries a day. So
Wow.
yeah, there's a
From
lot.
all over the country?
All over,
Out of the
yeah.
country?
Yeah, definitely all over. Mix of managers, agents, and just performers. I personally don't care if it's I know some people prefer to work only with agents or directly with artists. I don't really care. I do listen to everything, and I do pride myself on getting back to everybody, even if it's a no. It's mostly no's.
15
but-
per day. I
yeah,
mean,
it's
if you can
but
only fill one spot.
yeah, I mean the thing is, a lot of people reach out. The sweet spot is like 4 to 6 months out for me. So if you're really on top of your game, and you're thinking far enough in advance, it's a lot easier to book a date. But there's no magic formula, But I take a look at EPKs. So if you don't have one, go check out Listen Clee. They'll help you to create one. But yeah, it's definitely important to have your music up there and have your bio and check out your social media channels and all that stuff. I'd say half the people that reach out, it's just not a good fit right away. Like, they obviously didn't read at all what the Bop Stop is. So that takes care of half of those 15 inquiries. And then I would say a quarter are people that just reach out last minute, and I just don't have dates free. And last minute to me is like, 2 months out is last minute in my mind. So
for Cleveland artists that want to maybe throw a show at the Bop Stop, that's a good time. 4 to 6 months out.
4 to 6 months, yeah. So I don't have anything available through July at this moment, and August is, I'd say, a quarter full. And I try to keep some flexibility when it's 6 months or farther out, just in case a big name pops up and wants a date. I don't want to be completely full. So, I'd say for Cleveland or regional bands, 4 to 6 months out is the sweet spot. Yeah.
Got any suggestions for something to do to stand out from the crowd and getting a spot?
I will give you my 2 tips.
All right.
I have 2 tips. One is I love something that your music will speak for yourself. So you can describe your music however you want, but if I can just listen to it or watch you play, that's enough for me. So my 2 tips, one is in your first email, if you can have a sentence of why the Bop Stop. So as opposed to just being like, we're a band looking for a date. If someone's like, if it's my buddy played there and thought I'd be a good fit, or man, took a look at the website and saw that you looks like you seat 100 and we're looking for a living room style concert or whatever, something that shows that you did a little bit of research, that will automatically get my attention. And then the other one is be nice. I know it sounds simple, but there's a lot of jerks out there and there's too much talent. And when everyone's busy, so why spend your time working with assholes?
I'm sure those 2 tips are good for like any venue.
Can we get you don't have to name names, but can we get a good jerky story?
Wow, a good jerky story.
Yeah, not beef jerky. We got plenty of stories of that.
Every beef jerky story is a good story.
Okay, all right. Beef jerky story then.
I make homemade beef jerky.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, right.
Well, let's skip ahead. I was about to ask you about your hobbies.
Oh.
Well, I want to hear about the jerk.
Oh, wait. Yeah,
at least
jerks.
one jerk.
Back to the jerks. What's something that has happened where you kind of just go home and say, that guy really got to me today. Like, he was a real jerk. What the hell? Do you ever experience any people like that?
Yeah. I mean, there's people that just, you can tell they just don't believe me. That's like a pet peeve where I'm like, oh yeah, we're booked solid. And they're like, you can tell they're just like, yeah, right. Or, if, they're just real pushy. If I'm like, oh, you're not a good fit. And they're like, why? And I will say why. And I'll even suggest other places to play that are a good fit. But like, they're just tied to the Bop Stop or whatever or something. It's like, no, like I'm actually trying to help each other. I don't want to do a show that no one's going to show up to or something like that. There are good. Oh my God.
You don't have to use names. Obviously.
I know. I will. This isn't really a jerky story, but it's an example of someone being pushy, and then it's just like I try to be accommodating, and this is just a story where being accommodating led to a great story that I can now share. But there was someone who reached out. Wow, just telling this story is gonna people may be able to figure this out. But so it was a bassoon player, and the guy was like, "Oh, I really want to play the Bop Stop," and it wasn't up to. I wasn't gonna do like solo bassoon, and it was kind of weird and not. Once again, not a good fit.
Have his recital there or something?
No, it was like a real, not a recital. Even if it was
just a solo bassoon.
Yeah.
Interesting. With no backing band.
Nothing. So I was like, not a great fit, but maybe a library. I don't know. Once again, trying to be helpful. A week went by, and then the person says, essentially, I'm old and sick, and I've just always wanted to play the Bop Stop. I say, you got it. Let's do it. So we did the show. And in the middle of the show, the gentleman had gold teeth, and his teeth started falling out on stage.
Oh.
And he had to screw the teeth back in. But he got down. He put his bassoon down, and he was like searching on the floor. And I went up. I was like, "Are you okay? Can I help?" And he's just like, "Yeah, no, it's fine. I just have these gold teeth. They screw in place, but they all got unscrewed from me playing bassoon. This sometimes happen." So I'm on stage helping him find his gold teeth, and he screws it back in. And I'm like, "Okay, that was weird. Everyone's cool. Show moves on."
Was it busy?
No.
Okay.
But at the end of the night, it ended up kind of being okay in that we did the show. But in retrospect, this gentleman absolutely lied. And I found out like he was not sick
Wow.
or anything.
How'd you find out?
Someone at the show.
During the show, you found out.
Well, I was like, it was a kind of an awkward show, so I was trying to be like, look, there's reasons, and this happens a lot where there's reasons other than the music of why you want to do a show, and those are valid reasons to do shows. Yeah. Like whatever it is, and if someone's, if there's a reason that's like, okay, we got to do this at the Bop Stop, I'm gonna do it. But in this case, it was just a straight up lie to make it happen. And that's like crossing a line. But we did it. And I haven't talked to the gentleman ever since then, and that's that. But it's just a weird show that happened from trying to be accommodating and then finding out that it was, kind of deceptive.
Did you find out before or after the teeth issue?
It was after the tooth issue. I feel bad. I almost feel bad telling the story because when I say it, I feel bad. Like it's not like you asked for like when was someone a jerk, and this guy,
well, you don't feel bad. You went above and beyond to like be accommodating to him.
Well,
it seems
it's the deception.
It's the deception. It's the deception. It's the lying to get in.
It'd be like us not having beer. When we tell people we have beer.
Yeah, come on.
It seems a little worse than that. couldn't get the beer today, guys. Guess we'll just have to drink this vodka from BKO Distillery.
Oh,
how about that? The Voodoo.
Nice segue.
Yeah, Voodoo Vodka, proudly made in Ohio. www.voodoo.com. That's VOUDOUX, and distilled and bottled by, as you said, BKO in Medina.
Medina, Ohio. Yeah. Vodka, yes.
So, nice.
So if you're looking to get some good Ohio vodka for the venue, Voodoo.
Voodoo.
Yeah.
Oui, with that French spelling.
Oui.
Oui.
Yes, with that Ohio spelling.
French Medina. The French Quarter of Medina.
All right, Gabe, it's been a pleasure having you on here.
Oh,
let's keep going.
All right.
What other hobbies do you have besides running the Bop Stop? It seems like a pretty involved job. Does it take up most of your time?
Takes up all my time, pretty much. It's a horrible schedule. I say I live at the Bop Stop and then I have a house. It's like, it's every day. Every day is a 12-hour day. Without a doubt. Any time there's a show is a 12-hour day, and any day when there's not a show is still a full day.
No show today.
No show today,
All
but I was still working from 9 to 5,
Yeah.
I mean, the nonprofit model is great for some things, but I'm the only full-time employee. I'm the only employee besides 2 bartenders. So, I run sound, I book, I clean. If there's anything, I have to do maintenance, maintain permits, do beer orders, liquor orders, be around for the deliveries, stock the kitchen, all that stuff. Just, I have to do it. So, definitely a labor of love. So my time off is really, we're closed a couple weeks of the year. and if I'm not there, the club's closed. So I have like 4 weeks a year where I can actually do things. And yeah, I mean, what I picked up over the pandemic was making homemade hot sauces, which was fun, super fun. So, yeah, grew a bunch of peppers, and just experimented with tons of different vinegars and stuff like that.
Cool. You have a pretty high heat tolerance.
I have a very high heat tolerance. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So at least eating them.
Nice. Do you have a brand that you call your own hot sauce?
That's funny. Not really though, but the name that always like sticks in my head. But that's because it was my best friend in like growing up. His name was Ethan, and he always had a dream of creating Boss sauce because he loved to make condiments and wanted to make a condiment line. So whenever I make my hot sauce, I'm always like, Ethan would be proud of me. You know, he's gonna be part of Boss sauce.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. All right.
I'm a pussy with hot sauce, man.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we get to like honey barbecue, and I'm at my limit.
Well, every hot sauce doesn't have to be super hot, though.
Yeah.
That's like kind of the beauty of it. Kind of figure out what people like.
Yeah.
My tolerance has gone down as I've gotten older. Like when I was in college, so like I was late going to college, but like age 25, I would.
You were late.
Oh yeah. What age did you go to college?
I just graduated in like 9 months ago.
Right, but like I would have hot sauce competitions like with my friends in college, and now like I'll have medium hot at the very most for like on my wings or on my steaks.
Yeah. It's okay. You don't have to be ashamed.
I am ashamed.
I can sense that, you know, so it's okay. I've got the hot sauce for you.
All right.
No, I don't know. I'll make
The Boss sauce.
It hasn't been invented yet, but I'll make it, yeah.
Evan Stone Boss sauce.
That's right.
Do you do a lot of traveling on your time off?
I try to, yeah. I try to. Although, once again, over the pandemic was a lot of, like, camping, things like that.
Cool. Where do you like to camp at?
Well, we did our last trip, Tana, my partner and I, was it was kind of like glamping. You know, we did one of those
luxury trailers.
Yeah, those super the getaway cabin. It was awesome, except there were a ton of ticks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there were like a lot. They're kind of scary. I'd never seen a tick before. But they're like,
yeah, they can get nasty.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
They're like real creepy the way they crawl. Yeah.
Yeah. But we did that for a few days, and you know, we both grew up on the East Coast, so we're always doing the trip back to the East Coast, and it's nice.
Cool. Where are you from?
Grew up outside Philly.
All right.
Swarthmore. Should I give Swarthmore, PA, a shout out?
Swarthmore.
Swarthmore.
All right.
I know. Some people say Swarthmore. Other people say
What part of Philly is that?
It's a suburb. It's not Philly at all.
Oh.
it's like 15 minutes outside the city.
All right.
Yeah. There's a college there, Swarthmore College, which, like, I guess some, you know, in certain circles people know. Yeah.
So is that where your musical taste started?
That is a good question. Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I started playing trumpet in 4th grade. That's definitely what got me into music. Don't play a whole lot anymore, but I keep a horn at the Bop Stop. Play at our jam sessions sometimes.
Cool. Nice.
Sometimes sit in with bands. But yeah, trumpet's what got me started.
What brought you to Cleveland?
I went to Oberlin.
All right.
For college, and then my first job was at Nighttown, which was supposed to be a 6-month gig. And at the end of the 6 months, I was going to move back to Philly, but I worked something out with my boss. So I stuck around, worked in Nighttown for about 3.5 years, and then the Bop Stop job opened up, so I applied for that. If I didn't get Bop Stop, I would have been back on the East Coast for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Was that a hard job to get?
The Bop Stop job? Wow, this is actually a kind of crazy story, but I can put it out in the open for real for the first time ever. I would say yes, because I didn't actually get
Cuyahoga Soundcast
That's right.
podcast exclusive.
Wee, 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 wee.
So I didn't get the job originally. that's the gist of it. So I would say yes, it was hard to get. So
Did you murder the other person?
that's the part I can't put on the air. No. But, yeah, I didn't get the job originally. But the short version is the person that the music settlement hired resigned after just a couple weeks, and they reached back out to me and asked if I was still interested. So, I guess you never know how things will shake out. But yeah, I would say I think I felt very prepared for the job. So it was like I felt prepared for the job if the music settlement wanted a jazz club. You know, like you're given a building, you can kind of do whatever you want. So the person who had the job before me had a catering background, and the concept for the Bop Stop was that it was going to be 2 events a month. That's it. Where it was going to be like big corporate events, and you know, people would rent the Bop Stop for a lot of money and do their catered event. And doing the 2 big events a month would support the place. So that's what the Bop Stop almost was. And so it's kind of funny.
Was it always called the Bop Stop from the beginning?
So it was all when the Bop Stop was donated to the music settlement. I'm 99% sure that the name had to stay the same. I think that was in the donation agreement, but they just said Bop Stop at the music like they added the music settlement's name to it. Yeah, Bop Stop at the music settlement. It's a little confusing, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, you know, I mean, I guess you come to the Bop Stop and you kind of feel like, oh, this was built to be a jazz club and that's how it's operating. This is just what it's meant to be. It's kind of funny to think that
that's how it feels.
That it was so close to not being that. You know, I don't think people really realize that. You know, you kind of like my business plan was put up against the business plans of other people that weren't necessarily going to keep it a music venue. So the fact that it is still what it was always intended to be is actually an accomplishment.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a good job on your part.
Even though it seems like that should have been in the job description, just like make this a music venue. But that's not what was in the job description. Yeah.
So you came in right off the bat and said, we're going to have X amount of shows, or, you know, did you start implementing your plan right away?
I did, but the issue with my plan was that I never thought that the Bop Stop, of course, when I interviewed, it was part of the settlement, so it was operating in a nonprofit with a nonprofit model. All of my personal thoughts about presenting music, like I had a business plan, but it was a for-profit model. So my challenge was, what can I keep from my original ideas, but make it work for the music settlement? And at the same time, because it's part of the music settlement, having access to all the education and the students was kind of a cool thing that I never thought would be a part of what I could, you know, a part of a space that I'm creating.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it was kind of a balancing act, and the settlement has been really good about not touching the artistic vision for the space. So, you know, we do student recitals and faculty play at the Bop Stop. That's probably 30 events. It's about 30. It's like 10% of what we do is actually like a music settlement event where there's faculty or students. The rest is just, you know, it's like any other club.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we're up against, and I'm still fighting. Is like some people when they say, "Oh, the Bop Stop's open," you know, they can think of the old Bop Stop, and they may come, and I have to set them straight and be like, "Oh, like what you're thinking of is like what this was before." And then I'm also battling people that say, "Oh, the Bop Stop's owned by the music settlement, so like, can I take guitar lessons there?" It's like, no, you can do that at the settlement. Like, they own the spot, but if you come to the shows are just, it's professional bands, you know, so.
Oh, cool. That's good to clear up. I was always confused about how exactly they were involved.
There you go. Yeah.
Because that's done by John Carroll, right? Am I thinking of the right college? Kate? No.
It's near Case
Case
Cleveland
West
Institute of
is what I was
Music.
thinking.
Yeah, the main campus is in University Circle, and they have a second campus on 25th in Detroit.
Gabe, Pollack, we always ask our guests one final question.
Bum bum bum.
Do you have a movie recommendation for us?
Oh my god!
Old,
Could be
new,
anything.
a couple.
Wow, a movie recommendation. That's so funny. So I'm gonna say this just because it popped into my mind the other day. But like, what I really love are kind of like B horror movies. I love them. It's just something.
Foo Fighters just put one of those out.
Really?
Studio 666.
Wow,
It
let's
was
check
really
that
funny.
out.
Yeah.
Well, so last night.
Still in select theaters.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all.
All right. Well, that was my recommendation. So now I have to think of another one. That's not true. But scrolling through Netflix last night, I saw Starship Troopers was on Netflix, and that I have a soft spot for that movie.
I never saw that one. I remember
So, it's a horrible movie recommendation, but I have such a soft spot for it.
All right.
I loved sci-fi as a teenager, and I got to see like Independence Day and the PG-13 ones.
Dude, you'll love it.
I know I would love Starship Troopers, but when that came out, I wasn't allowed in rated R movies yet, and so it kind of just flew right by because it was right before I was able to go to rated R movies, and I never ended up going back to check it out.
That's so funny. That was like the first PG-13 movie I saw was Jurassic Park.
That's the same exact one for me. Yeah.
I was just going through shit, and I found a ticket stub from the premiere of Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Wow. That's a good one.
All right, Starship Troopers.
Oh, it's so bad, but so good.
Yeah. Thanks again, Gabe Pollack from the Bop Stop.
Yes.
Very informative. Thanks for letting us know all about what we wanted to know.
No problem. Yeah, if you want to learn more, you can go to thebopstop.org.
Cool. Any upcoming shows you are very excited about?
Oh my God, there's so many good ones. This is actually like I'm in the middle of like my best week I've ever had.
Oh yeah. Well, we're gonna air about 3 to 4 weeks from now.
So you will all you will miss all my good shows this week. I'm trying to think. Okay, so this airs.
It's like let's see, first part of April to mid-April.
Yeah, so April 24th, we have Stefan Remble. He did the soundtrack for A Midnight in Paris, if you like that movie. But it's like gypsy. It's just incredible gypsy jazz, a little bit different.
Gypsy jazz, all right.
If you like that Django-style guitar playing.
There's a band I like called Marbin that play that kind of music.
Marbin's been to the Bop Stop, baby.
Marbin's been to the Bop Stop. Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh, I will give you the recording. It is so freaking good. Marbin's played twice.
I bet it is. All right.
And the guys in Marbin have Danny has a gypsy jazz group, so a little duo. So the first time that they played Cleveland was actually, I shouldn't say played Cleveland, but the first time they played the Bop Stop was not as Marbin, but as this gypsy duo. And their Cleveland show got bumped, and it was like, oh my God, can we play the Bop Stop? I know it's only 2 weeks away. And I listened, and I was like, this is amazing. I will have you guys play on my night off. And so I squeezed it in. It was cool. And Marbin has played the Bop Stop twice.
If you can ever bring that back, I'll be there. That's awesome.
You would love Marbin now I think of it. But yeah.
I do.
Yeah, they're great. I was going to say June. Oh, shoot. I don't want to say this wrong, but a good one.
That
for all the jazz fans watching. I know, that's what I'm saying. I wish I could show this. Yeah, if you could see this. I mean, I'm not joking. This is July. There's August.
Yeah.
September.
Oh, I see like 1 or 2
October.
blank days. What's that, 6 months out?
November. There's December. That's insane.
That is a lot.
June 1st and 2nd, Gerald Clayton is coming for 2 nights, which I'm pretty stoked about. But once again, I mean, we've had a lot of Grammy winners and stuff, but it's jazz world, so
Something
big to me,
I'm
but not necessarily
with,
everyone.
I don't think our listeners are too familiar with, so that's good to get to know some names.
Yeah,
good.
I'm trying to think of some of the. Do you have anything coming up at the Bop Stop?
Do I? No. That reggae stint only lasted a couple years. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I would play again. I would love to be in a reggae band again.
Yeah.
It was some of the most fulfilling playing in my life. Yeah, for real.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, Gabe,
Yeah.
now we know you're the hardest person and working person in the music industry right now in Cleveland, getting the Bop Stop. How it is, just one guy doing all that. I had
That is
no
a
idea.
lot, man.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Cool.
Thank you for everything you're doing.
Oh, thank you guys. Yeah.
You're welcome. For the Cuyahoga Sound Podcast, I'm Evan Stone.
I'm Chuck Schilling.
Peace.